That's so
And so
good.
if I can just do that much for some people,
Mm-hmm.
have faith for them on their behalf until I can get them to say it long enough until they
That
believe.
they believe in. That's good.
Wow.
So if you can talk yourself into unbelief, you can talk
Talk
yourself
yourself
into
out.
belief.
Come on.
You're talking good,
That's
ma'am.
good. Wow.
That's a whole
And,
word right
and
there.
I just wanted to say this too, Shameca, since we're talking about doing the work and things. Uh, again, another quick word to parents, because when you have kids and the medication and the mental health field, how would you talk to parents on how to advocate for their child? Because I see a lot of parents and I'm back to the school system, where
Right.
whatever the school system say they need, whatever diagnosis they give them, they just like, all right, put them on this. Okay. All right, put them on this. And they'll see the effects of the child, and they'll see side effects and things that they don't like.
Yeah.
But they're scared to speak up because they say, well, I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a professional.
Right.
How would you encourage parents to help their children, because their children is not going to be able to make the decision, like, okay, now I'm ready to move to this stage, or maybe this is
Right.
not what I
Right.
need, or I don't like the way this makes me feel. How can the
Right.
parents make sure that their children are not victims to bad ethical decisions, right? That they're just trying to diagnose them and put them on a pill. So
Right. Well, I get that a lot. I get a lot of, and the history of African Americans with the medical
true.
industry.
Yeah, not a lot of trust.
We're
Yeah.
right. We're already, don't trust the medical field and medications, but I give them my professional recommendation. I'm not there to push pills.
Mm-hmm.
And I let them know that I'm not there to do that. Now, in my professional opinion, if I think your child does need medication intervention, I'll tell you, but I'm not telling you that just because I'm getting a kickback from the pharmaceutical company.
Come on.
No,
Yeah.
I'm giving you, I would not tell you anything that I would not do for my own child or my own
Right.
family.
Right. Right.
So
That's
when it
good.
comes down to the school system, you have to advocate for your child. Because I'm gonna give a quick testimony about me in the 3rd grade. I had already been labeled, and Dr. Umar talks about our children being labeled. Okay.
Yes.
Once your child is labeled and they get their first suspension, they're more likely to get multiple suspensions after their first one. Okay. So I was already labeled as a talker, does not apply herself, talks excessively in class.
I was a talker too.
And I was saying that, and I think I posted that on Facebook, what your child has been labeled as, as troubled, that really just may be their talent. But the school is
Yes.
not designed, like Dr. Umar said, it's not designed to identify talent, it's designed to identify trouble.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
So it wasn't like a program. They said, okay, Shameca, you're really good at talking. Let us put you into
Come
some advanced
on.
English classes.
There
Let's
you
challenge you.
go.
Let's use your mind. Let's prepare you for debating.
Right, the debate team. Yeah.
Yes.
But if they had, tapped into my talent and pushed me in the direction to use something that I enjoy doing and cultivated that skill. How many schools have a debate team?
Girl, I
Put
don't
your
know
talkers in,
any.
Our
put your,
school
put
didn't.
your talkers
Yeah.
into debate class.
Right.
Yes.
That
You
is.
know,
That's
Yeah.
so
but our school
true.
system is not designed for that. It's not
Yeah.
individualized.
Right.
So if the
Yeah.
parent is not going to take care of their child's behavior, then what can the school do? Give them a pill. because
right.
we can't handle it.
That's so true.
No, but in the 3rd grade, I was labeled as a talker, and they this was when we were taking the California Achievement Test.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that.
In elementary
The
school,
cat.
the CAT
CAT
exam.
test. Yes.
And I had gotten mixed up on the numbers. So the questions that I was answering wasn't corresponding with the actual bubbles, you know.
Yeah.
So I went home and told my mama that I had got confused and lost track of the numbers. And I said, but I don't have time to go back and answer, to go back and correct the answers. You know, they tried to throw me in LD, special education classes.
Girl, bye. Bye.
Yeah, they tried to put me in special education classes because my scores came back so low. And my mama was like, oh, no, you ain't.
I know
That's
that's
right.
right.
Come
Because I
on.
already told me, you know, she got mixed up on the numbers and she didn't have time to go back and to correct it. So no, you're not going to put my child in special education because I know she's not a, you know, special education student. If she was, then that's fine. Get her the help that she needs. But
Right.
that wasn't what happened. So advocate for your children because they can and will push your child to the side.
And I have just to piggyback off that real quick before we shift. I had a similar situation happen to me in elementary school, Shameca, as well. I was they used to pull me out of class. I'm not quite sure. I was in elementary, so I think I was in maybe 3rd or 4th grade. And they used to pull me out of the class. I used to go into this room with this lady, and I used to go over all these words. Like, it would be like pages of, like, not just sight words, just like vocabulary.
Right.
I'm a kid. I don't know. So I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, what do you do? You're a child. But I did tell my mom about it. And I don't even, it's like those things that you don't even know that you realize that you're telling something. But I told her, like, yeah, I go in the room and I go over these words with this lady. Honey, y'all pray for Andre. She done came up to the school. I'm pretty sure she wasn't as dignified as your mom was, Shameca. But she basically was like, take her out. I don't want her in that. She don't need it. She can read.
Right.
You know, all of the above. And I'm thinking about now because English has always been my strong suit. You know, from the standardized test to the end of the grade test, I always scored high in English. I got awards for reading the most books out of my whole class.
Did you get a free pizza? A free personal
more
pan?
than a free pizza.
That was reading them books.
They gave me money.
Books.
Oh, shoot.
In
Right.
8th grade,
I was in the wrong.
We got a personal
We be going to
pan,
pizza
too.
in.
In 8th grade, I got a gift certificate because I read the most books at the whole 8th grade class. And so the point I'm making is if parents don't advocate for their kids, it's what you said. I could have been stuck in some type of door trap. And, you know, not college prep or whatever.
Never realize your potential.
The elementary start is where elementary school is really where it starts.
Absolutely.
It does.
Where the prison, the pipeline starts, they're saying by, what is it?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. They're going to,
Kindergarten. Yeah.
The
children don't even know how to sit down yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Giving them a
Kindergarten. Chance. I got notes right here.
read them notes.
Read the notes.
Read.
I know, right? Read the Bible. Let me see here. What happened was that they during the 70s they adopted like this no tolerance policy. So the no tolerance policy meant that, you know, kids who were to be disciplined. So let's just say like carrying a weapon at school. Well, what is a weapon? You know, they had started suspending Black boys in school during the 70s for making a gun with their fingers like this.
Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was saying that that Black boys are more likely to be suspended for subjective things such as disrespect.
Right.
Wow.
So, you know,
Crazy.
in kindergarten. But whereas white boys were more likely to get suspended for things such as skipping school, you know, more concrete things.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas Black boys, it was just subjective. So it
Wow.
was a lot that went with that. You know, the no tolerance policy was adopted. The Guns Free School Act in 1994 was adopted. And then here comes resource officers. So
Oh my,
being
made it worse.
outsourced. Yeah, so discipline is being outsourced to the
Yep.
law enforcement system.
And you
That's
going to
Wow.
so
jail
wrong.
instead of suspension.
Man, I just got
Yeah.
triggered right then because
Yeah.
I think about all the particularly some in Florida, it's real bad, but where they were putting handcuffs on little Black girls and
Yeah.
they be in the principal's office one moment, the
Mm.
next moment they be crying and screaming because they're getting handcuffed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's
The
like you used to
trauma
get
of that.
suspended, but now you going to jail if you get in a fight.
And I'm talking about these little babies. This is not high school.
Right.
This 8.
Ridiculous.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I had a this is before I left DSS. I had a case, and it was reported by a school social worker, which that's a whole nother issue because some of these social workers are not there for the help of the children, and they
Right.
buy into the theory and the status quo. But long story short, I got this case and I'm reading over this case before I go out to initiate it. And I'm like, OMG, what in the world? Because it was like, this kid is, he had some sexualized behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
There was violence in it. He's unruly. The teachers can't control him, like all this stuff. And so I knew he was elementary school, but I'm thinking like, I'm thinking the upper grade, you got a fifth grader kind of feeling themselves, smelling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
When I looked at the case, I saw that the baby was 4 and he was in pre-K.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And so I go to his house. I go to talk to mom. He's acting like my 5-year-old nephew, bouncing off the wall, showing me his toys, wanted to show me his room. And I'm like, this isn't adding up. And mom is all upset. She's crying. She's mad because she's trying to work with the school. And so the school was like, we want to get him a counselor and let him talk through some things. So she's doing all these things that they're recommending, and they still made a CPS report on her. And so they're saying he's having violent behaviors. And I'm asking her, you have any weapons in your home? She's a single mom raising 2 kids, a teenager and this 4-year-old. And she was like, no, I have no recollection of where he would see this. They was like, he pulled his pants down and peed outside. Well, my little...
They're sexualized
That
behavior.
ain't sexualized.
Oh my God.
That's
what I'm
4-year-old a day.
That's right. They want to pee outside. They ain't going to go in the building. I'm going to whip it out. That's right. So I remember one time the social worker called me because, and this was the turning point where mom ended up taking him out to school. Now, I'm not sure if there wasn't a little bit of ADHD and ADD, but the way they were treating this little Black baby was like, they was like you was dealing with Marilyn Manson or something, like he was going to come and blow up the school. And so, he's 4, he's a kid, he's probably aggravated. And and his mom said, he went to pre-K through his church, and he told her, I'm bored because I already know this stuff. So they were going over things and concepts that he knew, like his numbers, the alphabet, his name. These were things that he had already been taught. And so, long story short, they called the resource officer. They would not let him get on the school bus because he had an incident. And I think he might have kicked the teacher or something. I don't know. And the social worker called me. And I all but said this because I still needed my job at the time. I was like, he's 4. I'm losing something because he's 4. Y'all can't handle a 4-year-old?
Right.
So parents, advocate for your kids.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
But
advocate for your kids.
One thing that I can say, and see, sweet, that's subjective. You know,
right.
What little boy hasn't done that?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so they're criminalizing
right.
normal childhood behavior.
Come on.
Right. Right.
Wow. But one thing I can say about the school that I worked with is that it was a small school. You know, all of the teachers were pretty much Black teachers. You know, the principal was Black, you know. And there was only, I remember, maybe one white teacher there. So the loving kindness that the principal and the teachers had for these children,
and the grace,
probably. Yeah, and the grace and the compassion and the patience, even though it was, you know, our last nerves would be touched, but we love them children.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't, even though they may have warranted, some of the kids warranted suspensions, the principal was like, no, we're not going to suspend them.
There you go.
You know, we're going to keep them in school. We're going to send them to Miss Ricks, let Miss Ricks work with them for a bit, you know, get them calmed down or whatever, and you're coming back to class. You know, most schools don't do that. You know, but it was like a community feeling, you know, it was a family feeling at the school, and everybody, we did everything that we could. But honestly, you know, that school needed wraparound services. You know, the parents needed a GED, a job, you know, counseling themselves, transportation. I mean, it was so many layers of ACEs. You know, so many layers of trauma and lack of access to, you name it.
Wow.
You know, nobody could do it all. You know,
and I think what you just said, Shameca, is so pivotal and so paramount, because the compassion from the teachers is so needed, and the principals and the social workers and the resource officers, because I remember having a family, and they were definitely impoverished, you know, when you got 5 and 6, or when it was a total of like 7 kids, and between 2 sisters. And, you know, when you're living in cramped spaces like you were referencing, and you're not making but minimum wage, and you're functioning with 1 car, or, you know, the minimum, if that. I remember going to a meeting at the school and met with the nurse and this and that and another, because they were having issues. And I remember the nurse saying, you know, I'm asking them, what are some of your concerns, blah, blah, blah. And I remember the nurse telling me that she had concerns about them not turning in, the parents didn't turn in a form. And I had to tell her, as professional as I could, I said, ma'am, I'm not making excuses. I said, but this mom is working and coming home, and the fact that these kids are even at school, she's winning. I can't help it. I don't care if she bring them to school late every day. They at school. I said, she probably, it's not that she's intentionally not wanting to return this form. It's the last thing on her mind. Exactly. When you're faced with, how am I going to pay the lights, and how am I going to keep a roof over my head, you could care less. And so it's that partnership. And that level of understanding, because I'm kind of looking at you like, why am I even having to explain this? So advocate for your kids.
And forms were a big deal, you know. You know, when you're trying to get the kids in services, you had to have them forms. It was the last thing that was on them parents' mind, because they had so many other issues and barriers to overcome. It was, you know, it wasn't even funny. So
And I got a question. It kind of segues into our next topic. Like, I know part of you have spiritual counseling services. So what I was wondering was, like, as far as the whole, whether a person is dealing with a mental illness versus whether it's a spiritual issue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you come across that where there is a distinction, or is it both, or am I asking a question?
Well, yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I get it. It depends on the client.
Okay.
Now, some clients, off the bat are spiritual.
Okay.
Christian, or they, may just consider themselves spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
So those clients who express spirituality or some form of belief, then I can go there with them.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. Got you.
Whereas, and be a little bit more specific, if it's, Christian, I can say God, I can, say Christ, but if it's a person who's more of, just, spiritual, I still can tap into the spiritual aspects of things, beyond sight, beyond what you can see.
Okay.
That's good.
That's how I
you.
incorporate spirituality. And a part of spirituality for me is instilling hope in people.
That's good.
Yeah.
Because, the Bible says to hope in God,
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have hope, what do you really have?
That's so true.
If you don't have belief, what do you have to hold on to?
Yeah. 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 That's so true.
So a part of that is, empowering people from, a spiritual level, from things that they cannot see, to just, when you can't see it, believe it.
Believe it. That's good, Shameca.
My Lord.
You might not have evidence
faith.
on how it's going to work out, how it's going to happen, but
Mm-hmm.
believe that I'm just expecting a positive income. I'm just going to, just believe that somehow things are going to work out for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so good.
So if I can just do that much for some people, to have faith for them on their behalf, until I can get them to say it long enough until they believe.
They believe it. That's good.
Wow.
Because I said,
Awesome.
what? How did you learn the unhealthy things?
Mm.
How did you learn that you was
Come on now.
You was an outcast and you were black?
Come on.
You had to say it to yourself until you believed it.
That's so true.
So if you can talk yourself into unbelief, you can talk yourself into belief.
Come on.
You're talking good,
That's
ma'am.
good. That's good.
Because faith comes by hearing.
Come on.
And hearing by the
word of God.
By the word.
Yes.
The word.
Come on.
I'm going to throw this pen at you.
And so my question is, what words are you speaking?
That's good. That's good, Shameca.
Because as a man thinketh,
so is he.
So true.
And that's what's going to manifest in your life. What you think about. I can tell what a person thinks about the most by looking at their life.
That is so true.
Because as you think, so you are. I know y'all have spent time thinking about this, because look at your life. Look at the manifestation. I know you spent time meditating. I know you spent time seeking God. I know that you spent time focusing on this, because I can look at your life and see the manifestation. Whatever you spend the most time thinking about, I can tell what you think about, because I can take a look at your life.
Come on here.
So, so I just, want to get my clients to spend their time changing the words that they tell themselves, because they've heard it, and then they take on the mindset of the perpetuator of the person who abused them. They internalize and take on that same language, and then what manifests in their life is jacked up.
Wow.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much how I approach it. So when the
client
is spiritual, I can go there.
That is so
Awesome.
good.
Wow.
That was such a good segue,
Yes.
Holly, and a good if I could throw this pen and it hits you upside the head, I want to throw something. Well,
Okay.
okay. I wanted to. I think this is a good segue because part of the wrapping up this conversation is I definitely want to talk about mental health in the church. We're all believers on this podcast, and yourself as well. And so therapy, counseling, things of that nature hasn't been something that's always been endorsed by our culture, but we've always endorsed it. We just haven't endorsed that formality of it, because you talk to your auntie, you talk to your best friend, you talk to your pastor. So you're doing it, but you may not be doing it with someone, or you may not be conducting these counseling sessions with someone who's really clinically qualified to help out. And so I wanted to know, as a licensed clinical social worker, what your thoughts are as it pertains to mental health in the church, because I've went through counseling and believe in it and think, yeah, I'm going to go back again and do my regular maintenance. And so I wanted to know what your thoughts are as it pertains to how that should be infused in the church at large.
Well, I say, utilize the talents of the people. Especially smaller ministries may not have access to LPCs, professional counselors, right there in their congregation. But I do think that it needs to be talked about, from the pulpit, as far as taking care of your mental health, because it is important. And a lot of times pastors are not equipped, to handle and to walk through serious mental health issues with people. And to be able to distinguish from, do you just need a couple of scriptures, or do you really need some professional help?
Yes, yes.
And some folks need professional help.
Yes.
So, and pastors, I definitely believe, should educate themselves on mental health. And be aware of it and learn what it is and be able to identify, hey, this is beyond my scope. I really you should see somebody. So, and then be aware of what resources may be available in that community.
That's good.
Now, I do see larger churches now who are incorporating professional mental health services.
I've heard of that too.
Through the church, and making those services available through their church. Some churches here in Raleigh and Durham that I'm aware of who are doing it now. So I was excited to see that in the church, but it does not mean, if you engage in mental health services, it does not mean that you don't have faith.
Say it again for the people in the back row. Say it again.
Come on.
It does not mean that you're the demoniac, and that you abound in chains and, all that kind of stuff. But, it just means that you might have a medical condition. You might, because mental health, if you have depression, anxiety, those things, they're medical conditions. So you may need to have an evaluation. If, this is a medical condition. Or you just may need someone to talk to who doesn't know you, who you can be completely honest with, because sometimes we'll tell people a piece of the story.
Come on.
Whole story, so you can just tell the truth. And be able to be free with who's not going to judge you.
That's good.
Yes.
Your business
That's
is not going to be told,
right.
all over the church or,
Right.
spread all through the family
Come
and this, that,
on.
and the other. So your confidentiality is guaranteed. And my only vested interest in you is to see you live life and live it well.
Right.
I
Amen.
don't want
Awesome.
anything from you.
Right.
I don't want you to, come pick me up or give me $5 or $10 for gas.
Right.
I
Right.
want you to be able to maximize your personal best and be the best you that you
Yes.
can be.
And I
Awesome.
think that's so important, man, because, there's been, I don't want to say an uptick like that, but I have heard, within these probably the past 2 or 3 years, a lot of pastors committing suicide, death by suicide, however you want to
My
frame it
God.
or whatever. And,
Mhm.
I always think when I hear stuff like that, man, did they not have a therapist, or was there not anyone that they could have talked to?
Right.
Because the
Yeah.
notion that kind of comes out with the stories is that no one knew all of this was going on until what happened.
Yeah.
And so,
Exactly.
and I'm not saying that that's always the case, but it seems like the majority of the time, the congregation, the family are just as shocked and disbelieved.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so, I'm just like, I thought it would be so awesome to have a ministry that ministers to pastors.
Pastors, right.
Now, y'all
Mhm.
need to go lay on somebody's couch
Come
too.
on
Mhm.
here.
Yes, indeedy. Yes,
And,
indeed.
and I think that's all about too, just getting to a place of balance, because in a
Right.
church we do have a tendency to think that everything is a demon,
Right.
everything is spiritual, and
Right.
we never
Mhm.
consider that
Mhm.
working out your own soul
So
salvation piece.
Salvation.
That's the
Come on
working
now.
out, is, you know what I'm saying, is talking, is, working through those things. And Jesus, he didn't come so that our spirituality would be a blanket or a shield over that, but he
right.
came to expose it so that
Come
we can
on.
deal with it. Come on now.
Yes.
Teach us
And
on
you know
today then.
what? Oh, that's so good that you said that, Holly, because when God gave me the name Well Life, it
Mhm.
was based upon the woman at the well.
Come
Oh
on.
my God.
You know,
Come see a
who
man.
had who had done wrong,
Done
Yeah.
who
wrong.
had messed up,
Mm.
and when she got to the well, there she found a man who
Come
told her,
Come
on.
on.
Woo!
Come see a man.
all the things
Oh, that she ever
that
did.
she had done.
Come
And
on.
he said, you won't even need to drink from this
Come.
well ever
Woo.
again,
My
because the water
God.
that I give you, you
Hey.
will thirst again.
Come on.
And he told her, he said, now you can go
Mm,
and don't be off-ended
mm,
anymore. Don't miss the mark anymore.
Mm.
Your purpose, all of that old stuff has been been
God.
been taken away.
Yeah.
And now you are free to go and fulfill your purpose and your destiny.
Mm, my
And
God.
that's the experience that I want people to have when they come to me. They're not coming to me. They're coming to see a man, and they don't even
Woo.
know.
Yes, sir.
Look, I just fell out. I can't. I
Hey,
fell out on the
God.
couch.
Oh, and I'm just the vessel
Come on now.
Yeah.
to tell them, to talk with them, to listen,
Mm.
and to tell them all the things,
All the things.
that they have done, they have been through, and say, you know what, I've done it too. I've been there too. Now that there's no condemnation on.
Nation. Come on now. It's good stuff.
Now go, take these words that I give you, drink of it,
Come on.
and now you can go and fulfill your purpose. And you don't have to be off-ended anymore.
My God.
So that's the life-changing experience that I want people to have when they come to Well Life, because that's what truly happened to me.
Yes.
So, and my life, yeah, that's good. That's good, sweet. Pastors
and we're
definitely
talking
talk
about
to somebody. Go see a man. Pastors need to go see a man too.
Right.
You know, name Jesus.
That's
So,
that's
Yes.
child. That's a whole nother word.
yeah, we they carry is heavy.
Yeah.
it is.
Were you was- oh,
I wanted to make a point about the mental health in the church. You know, I know that this is probably something, and you can say that's a problem in the church, and it should be, of course, because we're
That's
supposed to be telling the
good.
truth. But
Mhm.
we learn how to wear a mask, so we don't think it's ever okay for us to say we're not okay.
come
Right.
on.
I remember when I was going through my separation and my divorce. I remember I was praying and I said, God, is it okay for me not to be okay? Because I'm not. Right. Like, you know, when people say, you know, how you doing? Oh, blessing, highly favor. Oh, girl,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Come
or, you know,
on.
I'm going through this week, but you know, the Lord, da, 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 da. But if I'm never honest and being like, you know, and that may be some of the issues with some of the pastors, they don't be naked and unashamed, like as far as
Right.
what's really going on. Can you talk a little bit, and I guess you can mirror it with the church, but the importance of honesty when you get a client, how they can't just come to you and just try to put on a
Half the
face.
story. Yeah.
Right. Well, you can't get help if you're not honest.
Right.
I can't help you with, you know, a little piece from here and a little piece from there, because I won't have the adequate information that I need to be able to counsel you or to be able to guide you. You know, so you can tell me a little piece of this and lie, and it's happened. I've had clients who have come and lied for 4 and 5 sessions. And somebody out the blue will call anonymously and say they've been lying.
I love it. They
Got
been lying.
exposed.
He been lying. I'm leaving his rump. It has happened. He been lying to you and me too. That has happened.
Oh my God.
That has
Wow.
happened to me. So, you know, what are you here for? You know, are you coming because your wife made you come? You know, are you coming because the court ordered you to come? It's a difference.
It's a difference.
Come, you know, but people who come and don't be honest really can't be helped, and they don't leave changed.
Amen.
They
Okay.
don't leave with anything. Their situation or circumstances no better than when they came through the door.
Wow.
That's
Amen.
good.
Gotta be
That is
honest.
so good.
Gotta tell the truth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be honest, people.
Be honest.
Yes.
Yes. Because secrets kill.
Yes.
Secrets kill.
We got a lot of secrets, especially in
And
our
we got a
community,
lot.
honey.
Yes, we got a lot of secrets.
Family secrets.
Yes.
Yes. Come
And
against that spirit. Yeah.
That's right.
Come against it.
Right.
I'm trying to tell you. And I have heard, you know, like I tell people, I'm like, you would just be surprised. You know, I thought Jerry Springer was not even real.
I know. I didn't think, you know.
But honey, some of the things that I say, yeah, it's real. These are real issues.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've heard them in my office.
Wow.
That's sad.
So
Good gracious.
Well,
anything else, ladies?
in the Baptist church I grew up in, after there was such a good message, the pastor would get up after the guest minister and say, "Did our hearts not burn?
Yes, sir.
Did our hearts not burn? Honey.
This is good, ladies.
A wealth of
Mm.
information and expertise.
Wow.
God, this was so good.
So good.
This was so good.
So
good. So traditionally what we do, Shameca, is we give our guests the honor of leading off with lasting thoughts that you would have our audience to hear. We're going to post all of your information. So if there are local listeners who are in the Rocky Mount, Raleigh, Durham, Nash County area, and they want to come see a man,
God.
Glory.
It need to be your slogan. Come see.
Right.
They'd be like, what?
What does that mean?
You'll find out. Just go.
You'll find out. So we definitely want to leave Wellspring information for the listeners, and just anything last that you want to say, and Holly and April, and then I'll round it on off.
All right. Again, thank you so much, ladies. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself. And thank you all for your voice in bringing awareness to mental health. Again, I am Shameca Ricks. I am the owner and clinical director of Well Life Counseling and Spiritual Center here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am able to see clients all over North Carolina. So not just in the Raleigh area. I do offer virtual sessions. So if you're anywhere in North Carolina and would like to reach out to me, please do. My website is well-lifecounseling.com. My Facebook is Well Life Counseling, and my Instagram is Well Life Counseling. So please reach out to me if I can assist you. But as far as my final thoughts, I just want to let people know that it does not matter who you are or what you have been through in your life. You can recover. You can. It's never too late to make a change in your life. It's never too late to go after your dreams, because better is always an achievable goal. And if you need some assistance to navigate through life, you're not in this alone. And here at Well Life Counseling Center, we're there to walk you through and to help you navigate through life's challenges. So thank you, ladies. And I love you all.
Love
you too.
Wow.
Holly.
What she said, amen.
That's
exactly.
But be honest with yourself. Be patient with yourself. Seek help if you need it. Go and get it, even if you don't need it. I think therapy is probably a good thing just for personal maintenance. I need to go myself, my Lord. But anyway, just take the stigma off of it. You know, just like your body can get sick, your mind can too.
Absolutely.
You have to go through the process of recovery, like she said. And there are services, if there's Shameca, you know, out there that is there to assist you in that recovery process. So take advantage.
Amen.
Yes. Well, I just want to say I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and thoroughly enjoyed our beautiful guest. And you know, y'all listeners out there, and those of you who rock with us, y'all know here at Truth Aware, we're about solutions. We don't just bring up a whole bunch of problems, and don't give you a solution. And Miss Ricks has a counseling center that's a solution. Therapy is a solution, and you know, anybody in their life, just like she was talking about, giving people hope, because to me, suicide just means that somewhere you just thought ain't no hope. That's when you exhausted everything. And that does not have to be. You know, she's given her information. There's helplines, there's anything. There's so many resources for you to live. Just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath before you make that bad decision, and just get the counseling, get the help you need. It is out here, and you use this. If you're struggling with any mental health issues, use this podcast as a sign from the Lord. That you just like it happened for Shameca with the yellow pages. Use this as a sign from the Lord that there is help for you, and He wants you to get it. And just a ditto also to the parent. Advocate for your kids. And don't traumatize your babies. All right.
Where they need therapy, but go.
Just send them to the calming corner.
Oh God.
I totally ditto everything that has already been said. Not really much to add on to it. I think my lasting thoughts would be to those who are endeavoring to start this journey and being whole, I would say be willing to do the work.
Yes.
You're gonna have to do the work in order to live well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
To live well. See,
faith without works is dead.
All right.
Yes.
So, hey, you guys, it's been another episode of the
Good one. Woo!
With the Shameca Ricks. All the information will be posted into the show notes. Remember to like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and share. And then once you share again.
There you go.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. We love you guys. We thank you for your support. We thank you for listening. And until next time, have an awesome week.
All right,
bye.
Bye, everybody.